Good evening, everyone. Um, it's another cold December night here in Virginia. I'm in my study and smoking my pipe. This is usually how I like to end my day, how I wind down my decompression time, you could call it. And I think most people don't set enough time or any time to specifically unwind, to think. And I encourage you to start doing this if you don't already, but having contemplation time, or just time to think about things you've done during the day, to self-evaluate yourself. You should do this regularly, and you'll definitely be better for it. Think about, perhaps, just for 10 minutes, what you did today or yesterday. Things you maybe would do differently if you had the chance, things you want to do differently in the future. And it got me thinking, pipe smokers in general have long been associated with contemplation and wisdom. And for good reason, I believe. There's just something about the nature of smoking a pipe that brings about thought, that brings about that self-evaluation. And that's probably one of the top aspects of smoking a pipe that I enjoy the most. How it somehow brings about this deeper side of yourself, this side where you can reflect and self-evaluate. And it makes you a better person, it does. And you don't have to smoke to do that. Meditation, contemplation, these are all things you can just take some time to do. Walk down the street every now and then. Take some time to just think, to clear your head. Back to how contemplation and wisdom have been associated with pipe smoking for such a long time, I think those are pretty good defining characteristics. I did some research on famous individuals who smoked a pipe, to see if those characteristics would fit them, and it seems to hold pretty true. I have a little list here. We have Vincent van Gogh, Ernest Hemingway, Jacques Cousteau, Ludwig van Beethoven, Charles Darwin, Douglas MacArthur, hell, even Gandalf the Grey, Popeye the Sailor Man, pretty much any hobbit. They all smoke a pipe. So I guess I want to encourage you to start setting some time apart from yourself at the end of every day to just think about things. I'm currently a pre-med student, and I have a family. I have a wife and a son. My son's 17 months old. Both my wife and my son are my entire world. I love them very much. And like any sane individual, I have doubts. I particularly doubt myself, and I doubt myself quite often. And it made me think of a quote from Bernard Marx, a character in the novel Brave New World. This gentleman said, "How is it that I can't? Or rather, because I know quite well why I can't. What would it be like if I could? If I were free? Not enslaved by my conditioning?" That quote is a very powerful quote in and of itself, but it really hits home for me, I believe, because, and I don't feel myself the odd man out, I feel like this goes for most individuals, how it's so easy anytime you undertake a task, no matter what it is, where you just know you can't do it. Whether it's a weight loss goal, you immediately focus on the negative. I don't have time. I can't because of these reasons. You come up with a million excuses. For me, same thing with education goals. It's easy for me to doubt myself. In fact, it's too easy. Now, I've wondered why it's so easy to do this. Perhaps it's an evolutionary adaptation to protect yourself from potential threats. Who knows? But like he says in the quote, what would it be like if instead, anytime you wanted to do something, you didn't immediately start shutting yourself down and doubting yourself? What if it was the opposite? What if you just immediately knew that I know I can do this? Where do you think you would be right now? Where would I be? It's very interesting. And even though it's hard, I think you should start doing that. Of course, you're going to naturally think of the negatives. I feel like most people do. But how about for every negative you think of, try to think of a positive or a possibility. Instead of I can't do this, start saying things like I can. I think that's good. Anyways, just some food for thought while I'm thinking to myself, another little impromptu video here. I hope you guys are smoking and having a good time. Perhaps you went out and bought a new pipe. Maybe my other video helped you out. Well, you have a good evening.